Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. Brandon again. Want to do a quick training update and also let you guys know I turned 40. I hit the age PR of the big 4-0, and I'll take that as a PR because your boy hasn't been hitting too many PRs lately. Or has he? Which is why I'm doing this training video. And last time I talked about training, I gave you a general overview of the AI app from Juggernaut, and I said it's not like it was before. You know, a lot of people, including myself, always would think, hey, you're gonna have a set of 10 at RPE 10 and a ton of volume, and it's not like that anymore. And I probably should have taken my time and waited another week, because the week that I had right after that video was my max effort week. And what did I see? A set of 10 at RPE 10. Now, luckily enough for me, it was on bench press, which is no big deal. And again, this is a hypertrophy block, so the rep ranges should be a little bit higher. So even on my deadlift and squat max effort sets of that week, the highest rep ranges I did was like 6 reps. So perfect, no problem. But I did think it was kind of funny that I did have a set of 10 at 10 after saying the program doesn't really do that anymore. So I just thought that was funny enough. And going into this training week, I had some big expectations and I was a little nervous because sets of 10 are definitely hard to do. I always try to kind of leave some in the tank, but I wanted to be somewhat aggressive during this week. And I also didn't want to push myself to the point where I might screw up the momentum that I've been building the past couple of months since moving into this new house and the new basement. I've been talking about how much I've been enjoying training. And if I got snapped up or wasn't able to complete a certain rep range or set, that would probably damage my mental health. So I really kind of had to play the field in both ways here. I wanted to be aggressive, but not too aggressive. But also I didn't want to come in way too light where I'd have to keep doing sets and potentially tire myself out. So day one was my first max effort day, and that was on pause squats. And the training cycle had my estimated 1 rep max at 425 for pauses. You guys remember going into this training program, I think I maxed out or had a somewhat of a test out max of about like 525 on a normal squat. So the program suggested like 100 pounds less. I actually went in at 415 and hit that for a set of 6 at what I would say is an RPE 8.5. It looks a lot easier now that I'm watching it back, but in the moment I said 8.5 and I'm sticking with 8.5, but felt really good to move that weight. And again, because we're in a hypertrophy block, there was a lot of volume after that. So after I did that set of 6 at 8.5, I had like 5 back off sets of 6 with a little less weight. And I hit that all for like RPE 7 to 7.5, which again, really happy with and really kind of set the tone for the rest of the week. Now, luckily for me, the second day of training on Tuesday, I didn't have any max effort work. So I just went about my day, felt good, took Wednesday off as I normally do. And Thursday was the big day, meaning I turned 40 on that day. And I also had my max effort set on deficit deadlifts. And for me, deadlifts have been something that have been a little bit of a struggle bus for the past 3 years. They just haven't gone anywhere. In fact, they've actually gone down and regressed some. That's just taken a big hit for me personally. But deadlifts have been feeling really good the past couple of months, and I'm excited to try to push them. But during warm-ups, things felt really heavy. And during training leading up to that, the heaviest set I ever did was at 405. So I thought in my mind 455 would probably be where I should be for my max effort set. But 405 felt pretty heavy, and I was like, 455 might be a little bit of a struggle. But I said, you know what? Let's just take it for a single, see how it feels. Felt really good, and I really want to try to push myself and again, be mentally positive and be more optimistic versus pessimistic. So I said, you know what? We're going to go 495. You know, we're just going to go for that number. It's definitely doable. Might have to grind out some reps, but I know I have it inside me if I want to push that. So I did 495 for a set of 6. Again, in the moment, rated it at an 8.5. Felt pretty good about it. Happy with that, especially considering the 5 sets of 6 as back off work with slightly less weight also went, for the most part, pretty good. My lower back definitely started to get fatigued. So as I went down, I kind of started to drop the weight a little bit. I think my last working set of 6 was at 425, which is still more than I did of previous 3 weeks. So happy about how those numbers went, especially considering I also had some chest work and some tempo squat work for volume that particular day. So I moved on to doing some tempo squats. I think my top set there was like 375 or so, and I was able to do that for, again, 4 or 5 sets. Felt really good. And again, really good for my mental psyche. And again, pretty nice to be able to do that as a 40-year-old. So I'm happy with where I am at the training, and that only left 1 max effort set left. And of course, it was the set of 10 at 10 for bench. Now this is wide grip bench, and one of the things I've been trying to do is really get as wide as I can. So that's why I've been using the Rogue rack for this, since the Rogue rack is wider than my rep rack. and I'm basically taking like a snatch grip here. So my ends of hands are like rubbing against those sandwich J cups, and they're the standard sandwich J cups, not the 2-inch ones, so I can get them a little bit wider, but it's like a snatch grip bench press. And kind of find your RPE 10 or know what to do for RPE 10 when you're doing a set of 10 is pretty difficult. So I went with 245 pounds and I actually rated it at an 8.5 again. And all of my back off sets were at like 225. So I did like 5 back off sets of 10 at 225, and I rated all those between a 7 and a 7.5. So that's a ton of bench volume. And it felt really, really good. So that's always a positive because my bench has always been somewhat poverty. So I'm hoping that it's going to respond to all this volume and also the frequency of 3 to even 4 times per week. I'm going to be doing bench. I got to take a look at the program. I don't really recall, but I'm doing it at least 3 times per week. So it might be 3.5 times per week maybe. But overall, training week went fantastic. I thought I would bring this up only because, again, that last impressions video I think might have been a little bit lacking in terms of, oh, you don't have all these RPE 10s, and then I had RPE 10. So it went really well though. That basically finished out half this hypertrophy block. I'll have another 4 weeks or so. This week coming up is going to be a deload, which is nice. And then get back into it. I'm really excited to see how this hypertrophy block that I'm doing, which ends up being like 8 to 9 weeks, changes some of my MEV and MRV. I'll probably do another update on the actual training program around that time. I'm sure I'll still show you some clips of training on Instagram and maybe even on the channel, but I probably won't do another program update until I finish this particular block. So there you go. Things went really well. I didn't die. In fact, they went better than I expected. I'm really happy about that, and I'm really enjoying training right now, and I hope you guys are too. If you have any specific questions about what I'm doing, leave them in the comment section below. But in the meantime, as always, thanks for watching and stay big.